December 21st, 2025. Wow. Another day, another movie that I could make of my life. But it wouldn't be that exciting, honestly. It wouldn't be that exciting, no. But, wow. I got home, I don't want to forget it. I wrote down a bunch of stuff. So, this is the 21st, which is the darkest night of the year. If you take the numbers of the date, which is 12, 21, and 25, add them up, you get 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. We all know there's like Friday the 13th. 13 is a number that you see in a lot of logos, like the Windows logo and McDonald's and things. And I think it's evil. Somehow, I don't really remember why. Maybe because the 13th apostle was Apostle Paul, who was not an apostle. He was a fake apostle. This is direct from God, by the way, that Paul was not an apostle. See, what else is 13? Well, you just have like a lot of 12s and dozens, and then 13 is something added on to that that's extra, I guess. Something probably invented. I don't know why 13 is bad. I don't study numerology. I just notice certain things, and God also speaks to us and gives us signs using things like numbers. So, I hardly got any sleep. I realized what happened last night. So, on my way home last night, I just really went out because I told somebody at the soup kitchen I was going to be there today, and it was closed, but I already told her I was going to be there. So then I went earlier, left a note, and then came back. And then as I was heading home, I decided to bike by the 2 churches that I was going to today. I biked around the perimeters, and I think I posted Guardian Angels canceled demonic assignments and removed all the curses and things. This is not me, okay? I'm just stating my free will. God does this, okay? I'm not magic. I don't have a magic wand. This is any believer can do this. Any believer can do this. It doesn't have to be me. I'm telling you, go do it. Go do it to your own church. Anyways, so I did that, and then I went home. I ended up staying up later than I wanted to because I was watching a YouTube video. Okay, so I already stayed up like an hour past when I should have went to bed. And then when I go to get in bed, and I try to lay down and go to sleep, my dogs are going nuts. My dogs are going wild. This is highly unusual. They get up. My little girl, she is too cold. She needs to be under covers at night. She can't just sleep out. She gets too cold. She doesn't have like the thick fur. Well, the Saint Bernards, something about their skin, and they have a fat layer. They can handle cold. She cannot. She gets cold, so she has to be under the covers. And so here I'm worried about her, trying to get her under the covers with me so she doesn't freeze while I'm asleep. And then she won't get under the covers. She's barking. She's running around in circles. She's poking her head out the front window, barking, climbing all around the back of the couch, like trying to step on or lick my face or something while I'm trying to sleep. And she keeps running outside and barking, running outside, coming back in, and then I try to get her under the covers. She won't get under the covers. She's on the couch, looking out the window, barking again. Probably another hour of this. I hardly get any sleep. And I know what happened. I canceled those demonic assignments. Here was a church that I went to today. I canceled those demonic assignments, and I posted guardian angels there. Or, I don't know, guardian. I posted angels around this church to prevent demons from going inside. Evil spirits from going into this church. They were freely going into this church before. And then they knew about where I lived. Now, some members of the Kingdom of Darkness know exactly where I live, but other ones just know about where I live. There were probably these dark spirits going up and down the street. They see my house, they see the dogs, they have enough pieces of information to know where I live. I also had told somebody, well, this was today. I told someone this today, not earlier. Anyways, people have enough information to figure out where I live, but since I didn't give them my exact address, then they can't really, they don't have permission to do certain things. But anyways, they all know about where I live. They know what road I live on. These dark spirits, these evil spirits, like going up and down the street. Dogs are going nuts. Dogs are going wild. They can't go to the church because the church is now protected. They're trying to get in. They're kicked out of the church. They can't go in. And so they're here outside of my house or something, driving my dogs nuts, keeping me up half the night. Okay, maybe just another hour. But still, I already didn't have enough sleep. So then I was going to get up and have a shower and everything. I ended up not doing that. I realized, I don't want to be soaking wet and have 2 hours of sleep. I'm just going to be dirty and go to church like that. And I'm going to still not get enough sleep, but I'll get some. And so, anyways, God woke me up in time. My alarm went off. I woke up when that alarm went off. And I wasn't really tired then, but I did get tired later in the day when I was out caroling. I did get tired, and I yawned, and I sneezed a few times and things like that. So I remember having some interesting dreams. Here's a dream I had last night that I did not post because I forgot. I had this really cool dream yesterday when I was waking up. And this is very involved. Like, I remembered it was long, and it was very realistic. And I was, like, outside. It was very realistic. I think I was, like, on my bike or something. I was following people. I was investigating. I was, like, recording, trying to gather evidence about something that was happening. I was trying to, like, record it on camera or something. And then ended up going into this giant building, and it's, like, made out of brick, and it's, like, huge. It's really wide, and it's really tall, and looking up, and stuff went on, and it was exciting, but I can't remember now. Okay, anyways, then I had another exciting dream when I woke up today. Now, this dream kind of sucked, though. Ugh, my nose is starting to swell up like I have to sneeze again. This dream was not good, though. I woke up having an exciting dream, like it was like a battle, I was arguing. This could be more spiritual warfare, I don't know. But then I was trying to explain to somebody why you can't eat pork, like, because I told him you couldn't have pork or something, or I couldn't have pork, and then there was pork there anyways. And so, and then I had to explain it again, and it's something like, and I said, no one ever listens to me, or no one else listens to me, so, and then I told the person this, and explained it. So I was kind of frustrated, and not extremely, but I just said, like, no one listens to me, or I didn't yell, I said, no one listens to me, so, it's like that. So I was, like, saying, listen to me, because no one else listens to me, and you can't eat pork. I was explaining to somebody, again, not to eat pork. It came up today. It came up again. There was so much other stuff going on. This is not the time. It was raised. It is an issue. But now is not the time. This is my first time, like, really getting more involved with the people at the church. That's why this happens. This is something they don't know yet. But this wasn't the time to do it, I don't think. I think later will be. And we always take it to the leadership. You don't just start telling, like, the little people first. I mean, you can a little if you're just talking and you know that person. But just random people in the church, you take it to the pastor first. And then, it's their responsibility to check the test. This is from God. And once they've confirmed this is from God, then they are supposed to, just not serve it anymore. Maybe mention to people in case they didn't know and the reason why. And that's their responsibility, and they can have some time to do that. But some of them refuse outright, and they're refusing instruction from the Lord. So anyways, this dream, I was, like, convincing somebody, and this came up later. Okay, anyways. Oh yeah, also my dogs chewed up. I had a little, it's about this big, like a red plastic food bowl, water bowl, that I really liked. It was the last one I had left. And so when all that stuff, like, they were going nuts last night, they also ripped this bowl up into a bunch of pieces and destroyed it. So that did not make me happy, but I guess it's gone now. I'm not going to pick up the pieces. No way. I'm just going to leave it forever. It's just going to stay. There's no reason to pick it up. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, let's see. Then I get up for the 8 a.m. breakfast. I had, like, a little bit of extra time. I had, like, 20 minutes or so to kind of get ready and make my way there. They have a short little sermon before serving the food. And this was, like, about the Old Testament. They covered the Old Testament. Again, good. And the pastor was talking about God choosing the smallest, the weakest, okay, to win, to have victory. Yeah, this is good. This is true. Like David probably looking very cute, okay, but not like, yeah, like me, looking very cute. I'm not saying I'm the most beautiful person in the world, but I happen to know I don't necessarily look threatening to people, and that's exactly what God would use, right? Anyways, let's see. They also mentioned Bethlehem being insignificant. Was it only like 400 people there or something? They didn't mention that in the church. I saw that in another video, but this just being like a rural, insignificant place, like even smaller than my small town in Ohio. Um, So the lowliest of the low, here are the angels and Jesus, and there was like shepherds. The shepherds couldn't even testify in court, and they were so the rumor is that they were the ones that were notified of Jesus' birth first, and they were so lowly, like, they weren't respected, they couldn't, like, really speak to officials, and they couldn't, like, testify and stuff. And so they were the ones that found out first, and this is good, because then they couldn't tell anybody, they couldn't tell any government official, because it wouldn't count. They were too dirty and too lowly for what they had to say to count, which is good. That protected Jesus. Okay, so and we don't really know, but this might be. It makes sense if this was true, and this is like just circumstantial information, things that people have heard that's been passed down. So there's probably truth to it, but we don't know for sure. Okay, so the pastor talked about like exchanging cans, redeeming cans for coins. And he says Jesus died in exchange for our sins, and then he said, but redeem does not mean to change. It means to claim. So he actually, it sounded like he was going to say false doctrine, but then he said, but that word didn't mean what I thought it did. It meant to claim. So Jesus claims you if you accept, if you choose. So he didn't say. So he didn't die in exchange. He said, I thought it meant for an exchange, but redeem does not mean exchange. It means to claim, to take. But you have to be a willing participant. So actually good. He kind of like, he refuted the blood sacrifice thing in the most roundabout, non-threatening way possible that went over a lot of people's heads. So that was probably good. Let's see. This breakfast here, it's always like people trying to get me. I did go around and cancel demonic assignments and things in this church, but there's people that went in and they tried. I'm sure they probably tried to get me. A new man came and so I sat. There was a table right in front and it had like a space on one side. I sat down there. Then a man later, like a few minutes later, comes and sits down right next to me at the round table. You normally leave a seat because it's pretty close. No, he sat right next to me. And then at one point, a woman came up and talked to him, like maybe this was about the time to do the communion, where they have the bread and the wine. And so she came up right next to him talking. It would have been blocking my food and drink, or my drink, so they could do something to it without me seeing. But I took my cup with me. I sat it on the table up there, and then I went into the communion line. Oh yeah, this is before I got my food. I set my drink up there. And so then she was gone. I was only gone a little bit. I was only gone for maybe like 20 seconds. That is long enough. They only need a few seconds to put something in your drink. So I actually drank it, but I didn't want to leave my empty cup there. They could still put something in my empty cup. This woman came up right, so the man comes in after I'm sitting down, sits right next to me. Then several minutes later, a woman walks up, and she's talking to him right next, and she's kind of like in between me and the man, blocking the view of my seating area, right at the time they were going to do communion. So then they knew I did it the other time. So I got my cup, I sat it on the table behind where the pastor was, and then I went through the line. Oh, blocked. And it was completely obvious too. It was completely obvious. But then when I came back, this woman was gone, and I even got a new cup anyways. I got a new cup anyways. I threw it away and got a new one. And yeah, this is wasting their resources and their money. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't want to waste it. But at the same time, I don't want to drink whatever potion or poison is that these people will put in. But they can only do so much. So, good boy. God says they won't harm us. But still, I don't want to be falling asleep out of it under some type of spell. Because, like, you will still feel the effects. You just won't be harmed long term from this. So they were probably trying to. I ended up talking to them later. And there was another man sitting a few seats away. He was nice, bigger, and then he ended up talking to the other man who was older. Sat down, and he said, "Do you have a place to live?" He actually, I thought he didn't know if I was homeless or not. And so I got a place. He had some structures at the edge of town. I think he might have even been offering if I needed to stay. But there's a small chance that that wouldn't be free. There was nothing that made me suggest that. There was nothing that made me think that other than I know how people are. He did not come off that way, nothing. But, I don't think, he said most of the people, they want to come in, he doesn't want a lot of people to come in, like if they're addicts and dirty or something. And so he saw me, and actually, it was like, he said he had some shelters. And so I do have a home, I do. I just live like I don't have a home. That's the thing. Like, my home is for my dogs. It is 65 degrees in here. It rains in my house. It's dirty. All of my sinks are dirty. It leaks on the floor when I flush the toilet. I can't use my bathtub. I can't use my upstairs. I can't use my sink. I can't use my dishes. I can't use my stove. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I can't use my bed because then my dogs will be alone down here freaking out and chewing things up to get to me. I mean, just everything is blocked and obnoxious. Like, the tiles are pulled up so the floor is sticky and gross. Like, I can't even bring them up there. It's just I'm like blocked. The kingdom of darkness blocks me. And then, my actual livable space here is very small. It's like that couch and this chair is where I live in this house. Now, I can walk to the kitchen and I can open the fridge with my foot because the plumbers touched all over it, and I don't care. I'm not touching that ever again. It's gonna go in the trash, and I'm gonna get a new fridge. I'm not touching that one. I don't care. I don't care. You can call me crazy all you want. It's older too, so it's got the bumps in it, and I don't even have enough cleaner to clean that, and I don't want to. I'm tired of this. It's the point. Somebody puts poop on something. Somebody puts urine on something. You might as well light it on fire or blow it up because I am not touching it ever again. I mean, that's just how I am. That's the way it is now. It has taken years, many years, to get to this situation, but they know me. God knows me, and God actually does this to block me and keep me uncomfortable. I'm not allowed to be comfortable. A lot of people living in their cars, a lot of people homeless, a lot of chosen ones are homeless living in their cars. In a lot of ways, I have many things in common with them. My actual livable space here is very small. And then where I can put things, mice will get into, bugs, fleas will get into, cockroaches can get, so I only have a few places I can put things. Most of my closets are destroyed. So it's a weird situation to where my actual living space is very small. And then the dogs pull the blankets off. The dogs get mud on it. I got to clean it 1,000,000 times a day. It's just everything is a pain in the ass. And it could have been so easy. It could have been great. But God's going to restore us. God's going to restore us. People, you don't understand unless you've been attacked. It's the way the enemy attacks is a way that makes it look like you're just fine. You're exaggerating, No, they know what bothers you and what pushes your buttons, and that's what they do. And they want it to look like nothing's wrong. Well, they do something that's highly offensive to you specifically. And no one else will understand. I understand. God has put me through all of this to know when you have a charity group, you need to have more than one person responsible. You have multiple points of contact where that person can communicate with more than one person to make sure things are actually being fixed. Make sure there's not a narcissist in there getting things dirty, ruining things, and sabotaging things on purpose. I know everything they do because God had them do it to me first. Anyways, let's see. So they had biscuits. So they have a little bag with some fruit in it every time. It's the same thing. It's pretty good, but it's just like a few grapes and like a cut off piece of banana. I don't know, maybe a melon. Just a few bites of fruit. And then inside of the box this time was a biscuit, and it had sausage gravy on it. And I saw somebody open theirs, and I thought that's probably pork. It's probably sausage gravy. And then I open it and I look and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be pork. And so then the server came, and I didn't eat it. I just left it. And after a minute, one of the people in the kitchen came by, and I said, hey, do you have one of these without the pork, without the gravy? Or I asked him what it was. And then They went to get one, and then I handed, because there was a lot of people there, and I handed mine. I said, I didn't eat off of this, so they were probably able to give that to somebody else. So I gave it back. So I didn't get two. I gave them that one back, and they got me just the biscuit. The biscuit was good, actually, but it was just like a biscuit. But still, this is something to eat, and it's a good breakfast. It really was a good breakfast. Without the pork. Without the pork. This continues, I might have to have a little meeting with the pastor. The pastor, he actually has messages which I believe are inspired from the Lord. He really does, and he does have truth. And he has covered the Old Testament and other things. So I don't know why they continue to serve pork or who's in charge of making these decisions. But now this is the second time that it's been noticeable that I am basically one of the few people in there that is not an addict. The last few times, it was all addicts and criminals and me, and then I don't eat the pork, and so they are getting aware. But then they had pork sausage on it again, so they don't have to do anything special for me. But it's not about that, because see, I had to fast at the other meeting where they had pepperoni pizza. They do this to me on purpose. I mean, they actually do this to me on purpose. But this is for everybody, because no human is supposed to be eating pork. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. The pathogens in the pork are actually demons, as Jesus has allowed demons to possess pigs. It is in your Bible. Before then, pig was strictly forbidden. It was not even viewed as food because you could not slaughter it according to Jewish law. The guidelines for slaughter, because their necks were too thick, they would suffer. They could not just cut their jugulars very quick. They could not be food. And this is why it would be okay if you're going to let demons go into an animal that is not food. Okay, let's see here. So then, towards the end of the service, and someone else was asking, if they had more food to go. And I said, oh, well, actually, there's another church. There's a couple blocks down, and they got donuts and coffee there. And he was like, oh, thank you. He was real nice. He was like, thank you. And I said, I got stuff. He wasn't going to go. He wasn't going that day. But he's like, oh, thank you. And he was really happy to. It's nice, as I told him. And I said, I can walk down there if you want. I learned this from the Satanists that tried to get me. Like, I'll walk down there if you want. I said what they said to me, to this man, but I actually did not intend to harm him. Anyways, so then I went to this other church, and they had a children's concert with a bunch of kids, and they had the angel costumes, and it was about announcing Jesus' birth. Now, Jesus is not God. This little point here was wrong. They do overall have a good message, though. They're not blood sacrifice all day. That's true. And they do appear, many people do appear to be nicer. Not everybody. The first day I walked through, there's people turning away, and there's people, most people turned away in some approach. Now, this could have been because of the witchcraft that was freely going on inside of this church, which has now been shut down. At that point, if this was all a spell, these people were under a spell. They were eating cursed food. It was making me look like a bad person. They were being repelled from me. Then the spell was no longer on the food because I went the day before and removed it. And this time, there was a guy kind of sitting a row ahead of me. He kept turning around and looking back and looking back. And I don't think there was anything. He kept looking to see me. And this isn't because he's in love with me. This is because I have the light, the Holy Spirit inside of me. And sometimes people can see it. Most can't, but some people can see the Holy Spirit. If you have the Holy Spirit, you might notice certain people recognize this. He kept turning around, kept looking. And I know why. Because I have the light of God. I asked for the light of God, but actually I went through the process to get it. And you can too. You need to follow Christ. You got to leave it all behind and work on all your problems. You treat people how they treat you. You're polite to people. You're loving. You're kind. But somebody starts to attack you. You have to defend yourself and protect yourself. Okay? It's not quite what Jesus just says to love. Yes, you do pray for your enemies. But at the same time, not everything is kumbaya. Some people will not repent. Okay? There are different times and different situations. It depends on who you're dealing with. A lot of these addicts are paid to come after me and do things, but at the same time, they're not trying that hard, and they're put up to it. And, if you show them kindness, so this is not one size fits all. Actually, it's showing them kindness. They're warming up. They're seeing that they're not that powerful. It's not that effective. And they're seeing me be nice. And they're kind of opening up and, coming to my side a little bit. And that's what this means here. To be, also praying for your enemies. You can pray that they get caught. You can pray for justice. You can pray that they go to jail. You can, when it says pray for your enemies, it doesn't mean pray that, yes, pray, if they can repent, for them to repent, but not all will. And pray that they get justice, judgment, they can no longer harm others. I mean, there are different levels here. You have low-level people that were young, that were caught up in a bad thing. They're now in a coven or a group of witches. And these people still have good in them. That is not the same. There are different levels and different devils and different people. You need to approach them all differently. We want to try to convert them and we want to try to flip them, but not everyone will. Not everyone can. And some people need really tough love. So this whole kumbaya thing is not accurate. To work on yourself, you also need to respect yourself, and you can't just let others take advantage of you. If you look at the Old Testament, and God gets the revenge, not us, and then it is not good for the enemies. They do pay. They are given a long time, many chances, they don't repent, and then it's judgment. Okay, let's see here. I saw, it turns out this Tuesday meeting, okay, that I walked in, I was surprised. It was all witches. It was all witches. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect this. Guess what, though? Guess what? It's a little different than what I thought. Okay, so they just said Bible study. No, this isn't the Bible study. They just said it was a Bible study. No. See, God sent me here. God sent me here. I didn't know. I'm learning more. Why did I go here? What is the point of this? This isn't regular Bible study. This is a hope and recovery meeting. It's a recovery meeting for addicts. Addicts that are still addicted or in recovery. They have demons. So they look like a coven. They look like, you see people, and I think the women running this were witches. There was a couple of women running this, I believe, were witches. But then most of the people there, they might not have even been practicing witches. They were addicts and recovering addicts, and they still had those demons. And they had some of the same demons the narcissists have. And they need deliverance. So this is a recovery meeting for addicts, I believe. No one told me that. There was a lot of steps removed to get me to this meeting. Oh, it's free lunch. Oh, it's free food with a Bible study after. Oh, and it's not a Bible study. It's a meeting for recovering addicts. And here you are. But we all have had addictions at some point. Mine is not drugs. We all have had addictions, including me. So let's see here. Let's see. And then there was a woman at this church, and she said, oh, I'm going to be there Tuesday for the bingo. And I'm like, oh, and then, remember, she was not at this meeting the last week. She's going to be at this Tuesday meeting. And then I saw her later, so I'll be there. Okay. Last time I was there, I wrote down some of the things. These are demons that make people feel this way. They feel depressed. They put up a wall. They feel suicidal. They need help. They need deliverance. There are demons possessing them, making them feel this way. And I didn't realize. I thought I was walking into a setup. I thought I'm walking into a coven. No, I'm walking in. The women running it are witches, but the rest of the women are recovering addicts that still have these demons, and they are not delivered yet. So I don't understand, as maybe God has put me at the soup kitchen. God has put me at the recovery meeting for a reason. And I'm not saying that I'm going to cast out these demons. But maybe somebody there can. If God doesn't want me to, maybe someone else will. But they maybe don't know what's going on. They don't know what needs done. So I'm not supposed to do everything. It's like God gives me an awareness, and normally I go and tell someone else. And then they can take action. They can choose to take action. And then if they don't take action, then maybe God will have to use me. I'm just who God uses. They keep saying, oh, use the weak and small. No, I'm strong. I'm really strong. Okay, but I am small and I am cute. So this is what God uses, because nobody takes me seriously, apparently. Actually, people are taking me serious now. They're taking me serious now. Because I'm not an addict, I'm not on drugs, I'm not mean to people. So I just tried to be a good person. So yeah, people are taking that serious now. Anyone that tries to be a good person, people are noticing, because you are a minority right now. Anyone that tries to not harm others, I will say at this church I noticed a lot of people that were nice and joyful. Okay, that is good. They didn't realize that they needed to protect their church, and there were witches operating there and cursing the food. They didn't know that. They didn't know that. So I went in and I took care of that. But maybe I need to tell the pastor later. I did mention some things to the pastor's wife. So anyways, let's see what else here. I don't know how old they are. Maybe they're my age. Maybe they're younger. I can't really tell. Let's see. So, anyways, I just had this service, and they did the children's concert, and then after that, I go back to the other church where we had the breakfast, because they have a break after the breakfast before their service starts. Then I go back there, and I show up, and I got like 5 minutes until this service starts, and I watch that. I'm trying to think, what did they even cover? Let's see. Oh, of course, the couple that were very polite to me, they could not bring the strings to restring my guitar, and then they said there wasn't going to be music lessons for a couple weeks, and it was getting pushed off. And of course, they don't want to meet anywhere else. I can understand for safety. That's not the best idea, but it's kind of like you're not getting new strings. And I know this always happens, but maybe God will give me something better. Let's see. Anyways, that does mean that I can just bike to the next recovery meeting, because I won't need to bring the guitar because the music lesson is canceled. Okay, let's see here. So then, as this church service is starting, there is a countdown timer. I look at it, it says 1 minute and 34 seconds. So there's a 1, and then there's a 3 and 4 on the other side, which could be a 17. And then I look at it again. After I write that down, it says 1 and 19. And 19 is a significant number to me. Add up all the numbers, and you also have an 11. See, so then there's just a bunch of stuff going on. And while I'm there, I am invited by this couple again. They say, 2 o'clock, we're going to have snacks. And then Caroline, I already said, when somebody invites me to something, I just have to go. I already said that. Like, somebody invites me, then I go. So then I showed up. Like, I went home for an hour and 15 minutes, played with the dogs a bit. Played guitar a bit, and then biked right back. Went back to the church. Oh, and another verse they covered was Micah 5:2-4. So that would also be a 7 or an 11. And it also has a 9. 7, 9, or 11. During this church service, they were talking about Jesus. I think this was in a song that they sung. They sung a song during the service, like everybody stands up and sings, and it was, some will not receive you or know just who you are. This is talking about Christ. This is talking about Jesus. Some will not receive you, and some will not recognize you. That's right. That sure is right. If you are one of the 144,000, you understand this very well, as the prophets before have gone through the same things as today's prophets go through. Let's see here. And then here's a whole other page of chicken scratch. Something that I should make another video about. And I know this from what God has put me through. I have picked up my cross and followed Jesus. I am following Yeshua. I picked up my cross and I'm following Yeshua. And I happen to know this because of the signs I get in my life. Like when I went to go fix the banister, and I got like this 5 foot long pole and I had it cut, and then I sat it down, and it was I actually carried a cross. I bought it at the hardware store. It was a fence post. I had it cut so that I could kind of prop it up to make like another side to put like a gate across my the bottom of my steps. I wanted to put a gate, and I needed to have a banister on the other side. I went and got a fence post. I had them cut it. I carried the pieces back, sat it down without even noticing. I look, and I just sat down a cross. I'm like, oh my gosh, whoa. And I didn't even plan to do any of this. I was picking out other stuff. I didn't think of this. God thought of this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Jesus had to rely on others to feed him, to provide for him. He showed up with nothing, no money to offer. And so that's how you know who's your enemy, and what are they going to do? Are they going to help you when you have nothing to give them, when you're poor, you need food, you need assistance? Most did not help him. If you are a chosen one, you understand most people do not help you. Like Trump says, wish for a period of time I could lose everything and see who my real friends are. It's kind of like what happens to us, except for we don't have any friends. Just see who would even help at all. Like what charity would even help. Jesus had to also be in a situation where he had to rely on others to feed him, to fund him, to help him. Most did not. Most did not recognize him. And even this kind couple that I met, and they actually were very caring, but still, in terms of getting the strings, they don't need to get the strings. It's not their responsibility. But they said they would, and it was pushed back because the pagan holiday of Christmas is more important than keeping their word to me. I'm just going to say, they were very generous, very polite. So I'm not saying that at all. But as great a people as they seemed to me, they seemed like wonderful people. The pagan holiday of Christmas was more important than helping me. So that's what I'm saying, is this is something even the best people do. So pagan holiday of Christmas needs to be taken down a peg or two. And this is almost kind of like what Jesus was saying with the Sabbath. It's like, this thing, like, Sabbath is from God, okay? But anyways, say the pagan holiday of Christmas is not from God. But still, even if Christmas was from God, which it's not, then helping somebody is more important than celebrating. Like, you keep your word, you help a person, and don't just be worried about getting together for the holidays and doing this and that. And like, oh, I can't because, this and this is canceled. That becomes more important than just helping a person. And Jesus would stop and, oh, somebody was hungry, they went and got food. Or, and you could fast later. Because, just really how important each person is. And then that gets pushed aside. I notice this really bad with the narcissist families. They want to have family there or children for pictures, but then they don't want them any other time, stuff like this. But no, this couple, they were very sweet, very helpful, very kind. But still, the holiday of Christmas was much more important than keeping their word. But they did keep their word about a lot of things. So I'm not trying to bash it, but I'm seeing it as even wonderful people, like some of the best people I've met here. Still, pagan holiday of Christmas is way more important. Okay, let's see here. So, actually, I'm going to go way back to when I went to get my breakfast. And the man who sat down at the breakfast table, who was talking to me, and asked if he knew what spiritual warfare is. And I guess he's got, like, one side is, like, native or something. And he pulled out a thing and said, he was kind of talking quiet. I couldn't understand. So that's probably why I know he's evil. Because these spirits know, like, sometimes my ears are clogged and I can't hear that well. I mean, I can hear, but not when you're, like, talking real quiet. So they like to talk real quiet. So then I should just know he's an enemy. And I told him about that, about strings and guitars, and talked a little bit, like, bring your banjo or whatever into this music class, and do you work on cars? And he's like, and he acted like he wanted to help, and so I tell him about what kind of car I have a little bit, and then about where I live, but I don't tell him exactly, okay? And then, he's like, well, I just got too much. Yeah, but he was, like, offering to help at first, and he's like, I just got too much to do, but I was offering to help. But I think he was trying to fish for information and never had any intention to help anyways. That's okay, because now I know. And he also mentioned at the end, oh, I said, oh, I went to this meeting. He's like, oh, did you see this girl here? Or like the one that looks like Megan Fox? And he's like, yeah. And we started talking a little bit. So yeah, and she, I believe, was a witch. So anyways, maybe she can repent. Maybe she's got good in her too. That's the thing. I don't know. But still, that was like kind of a tell as he's working on the other team. And then I told him what kind of car I have, and it needs fixed in like what road I live on. Um, but my property is highly protected, and this was after they already sent demons up and down my street. They already like blew over the power lines, and then the Pharisees at the other church already had my address written down. They already knew, because there was people spying on me when the invitation was on the door to make sure I got it. So they know. They know. I mean, they already know where I live, because King Harrod used to drive me to the church. And I don't know if King Harrod can repent. Maybe God's trying to have all these biblical characters repent if they can. Maybe. Because there was something at the fair when he got lost and I couldn't find him. And so I just meant to ask one person where he was. And it ended up in the entire staff was trying to find him. And then I'm on the golf cart and then we track him down. And then this song plays. It's like, I'll send out an army to rescue you. It was like God staged this whole thing. And then this man was the King Harrod. So then and then I heard the song play like a few days ago. And it normally doesn't play. And I wonder if he heard this. Because he tried to get me. And then, like, he would take me out to eat occasionally, not that much. Normally I'd have to buy my own stuff. But every once in a while he would buy me something. And then sometimes I felt like, oh, I should buy him something. Even though I didn't have money, I would charge something and I'd get him, like, here, and get him something too. Now, it wasn't worth as much. But still, anyway. So, like, but I was nice to him. I talked to him, even though he kind of pushed his way in the beginning. And maybe he's remembering that. He is alone. He is single. He does not have children. And, even his cousin or something was like, oh, look, someone cares about you. Like, when maybe he's remembering that now. Oh, you betrayed me. That's, I would have cared. But bye-bye now. Anyways, who knows? Maybe God has something else planned that I don't know about. So anyways, this stuff's like kind of all over the place because I would remember stuff later and then write it down. So this guy was probably an enemy, and the woman came up trying to block my plate. Or I just had a cup at this point. And then of course they had pork, had to swap it, and they were kind of stressed there wasn't enough. And then I gave them mine back and I said I didn't eat out of it. And the pork came up again. This time it was a problem because the whole room was packed. Maybe the whole room was packed because I canceled all the demonic assignments, and more people that don't usually go were there this time. Let's see. The pastor in this service covered unconditional love. They had the song 197. So they only sung a few songs and then the numbers on it. And if it adds up to something significant, I write it down. So it was 197, which adds up to a 17. It's something like the 4th week of the Advent where they focus on love or something, lit the candles. Love, that's good. And Monday will be the 2nd day. That will be the 22nd and the 2nd day of the 4th week of the Advent. Okay, so we did the 2 o'clock caroling after this other service. Then I went back home for a while. Then I biked back again, and I parked my bike. And then the older couple came out and they greeted me. I said they're very nice people. They seem like good people. I really mean this. But anyways, I started to lock my bike up, and they said, "Oh, you could bring it in." And like they mentioned, like it'd probably be over at 4. And so then I brought my bike. I'm like, "Oh, sure." And I brought my bike in. Like, "Oh, it's a nice bike." I didn't notice there's a sticker on my bike from 97. I have a vintage 90s bike. And it's got some things that should be tuned up. Like the brakes should be tightened. The brakes got crack on the thing on it. And it's just a little bit rickety, but it's a good bike. Like, somebody could tune it up. And it has a little surface rust. It is a good bike. Like, you can't really buy a bike like that anymore because it's not aluminum or it's real thick. It's the steel frame. And it has the right shape. Like, it's comfortable. The shape is a good size for someone me about 5'1". Let's see here. So we did Caroline. We went to an assisted living facility. It was like a retirement home. Um, they had gift baskets that they brought and then sung songs. It was very different, everybody's approach to these. It took a while. So it was a couple and me. So people, like, they formed certain groups so that people could carpool. And so they invited me to go with them because I wasn't on the list. I didn't sign up for this in advance. They just invited me at the end of the last church service. I said, and I told them as we were leaving too, about the funeral home and how they had this free meal to watch a seminar. And I said, at that point, I said, if I get an invitation or something at my door, I'm going. God knows that. And so they invited me to this. I said, so I gotta go. And then they had these old vintage caroling books with the songs we were gonna sing. Well, they're only like 15 pages or something, or maybe they're like 13 pages or something. And then I told them about the funeral home meal. Then I flip over this Christmas Carol book. It has absolutely nothing to do with funeral homes. Nothing to do with funeral homes. The whole thing just says Christmas carols, and then it's got songs, and they're all about Jesus. None of them are about Santa Claus. So they actually are about the birth of Christ, and none of them are about Santa Claus. But anyways, I flip it over, and on the back, it's got like, the credit for this book is the funeral home. The funeral home that I told them about. I just told them. So I get in their car, and then I said, and you invited me, so I have to go. And I said, anything I'm invited to. And I said, ever since I went to this funeral home, or ever since I went to this funeral home seminar about prepaying your funeral, then I said, if an invitation comes, I'm going. And then I just told him this, and then I had the book in my hand, and like a couple minutes later, I flip it over, and right on the back, it says the name of this funeral home that had the funeral seminar. And that's what I was talking about. I'm like, oh my gosh, everything is planned. Everything is planned. We talked a little bit. I told him some things. And anyways, it's a very different approach in both of these churches. There's not too many people that go to this one. Most of them are older. They even had a few churches get together for this event. And so our group was the older couple, me, and then a younger couple. They might have been 25 or 30 or something. I can't even tell. Just like a man and a woman, and they were kind of silly and like nice, bubbly. And the man, he had like a holiday costume with bells on. Was he an elf or something? And the woman, like, they're both American with no accent, but she's like kind of Asian, and she's like Asian American, must be second or third generation or something. But she was like real bubbly, real nice, and they know how to sing. Like, there's a way you sing carols or church music. As a woman, you sing real high. I don't know how to do that. And so I just try to sing normal, but I am not. You hear this voice? I am not a singer. And then she was like, oh, you got a good voice. I kind of thought maybe I did before when I heard it in my head like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But then I recorded these videos, and I do not have a nice voice. My voice is silly. So she might have just been polite. Maybe it does sound good to them, though. Maybe it does. But I know my voice sounds silly. That's okay. God did that on purpose, so I'm not threatening. Let's see here. But you should be afraid, because I am a demon slayer. No, I don't. I tried to save the demons, and then they don't repent. So then they gotta go. Let's see here. So yeah, we walked around, passed out the gifts, and a lot of them were in this main building, but then a few they had the like small brick ranch style homes, like a older person community. Went to a few of those. Everybody was real happy. The first guy, though, wasn't. Okay, so the first old man we visited probably had demons because they attacked me. This is how they attack me. Like, it's always just like a humiliation ritual. It's nothing much. They can't do much. Okay, But anyways, I think he attacked me because the demon in him attacked me. Okay, I think walk in and this man's, what's this for? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And like he didn't. This first man didn't really seem to appreciate the other ones. They really were appreciative, and some of them were real happy, especially the people that had their own homes that weren't being fully taken care of. So they had their own homes on the elder community, but they were self-sufficient. These people were really grateful, really, really nice, really happy to have people come. But this first man, I don't know if he had Alzheimer's or something, but he was not. He did not seem like that grateful. Like he kind of liked the gift maybe, but it didn't really seem like it. He wasn't that happy we're here. He's like, who are you? Who are you? And then he said to me several times, who's that? Who's he? Who's that? Who's that? And so he looked at me. He keeps saying that I'm like, he'd call me like a male, and then like who's that? And then they said Jennifer, and he's Jeffrey, Jeffrey, and he said that's a boy. He said you look like a man. You look like a man. He kept saying this, and then the last time I said no, no. I didn't want to be mean, but I know they're speaking spells. I do not look like a man at all. Okay. Anyways, if this man had a demon, the humiliation ritual that they do, and also trying to cast a spell on me. Like, you look like a man. Is that a man or a woman? You look like a man. No, I don't look. I don't look like a man. I'm 5'1". I do not look like a man. I don't see how I could look like a man. I mean, I guess some men are very soft, so possibly people might be confused. I think men should look a little tougher, like than. I guess a lot of them these days don't. I don't know what to say. But anyway, I'm sorry. Here I'm doing the same thing. This man, though, I believe he maybe had Alzheimer's, but demon was manifesting through him, trying to humiliate me and also cast a spell to make me look manly and not attractive. Yeah, I am female. Do I look like I am not female? No. Anyways, I wasn't rude, but I had to say no, because I have to reject this spell. I know what it is. Like, they want to manifest through somebody that's got Alzheimer's in the old person's home, so that if you say something back, you look like an aggressor or something wrong with you. But then he kept saying it, and I'm like, no. No. I didn't yell or anything, but I'm like, no. The last time. Because I had to reject this spell that he was doing. The demons in him were saying, oh, is that a man or a woman? That looks like a man. Jeffrey? They're like, Jennifer. Jeffrey? Jesse? He did this on purpose because they just said Jennifer. It was kind of, no one else said. Anyways, as we left, I'm like, dude, do I look like a man? And like, no. He's like, no. He's probably never seen, like, wearing pants or wearing, like, no, that was a demon. And it was trying to humiliate me because I do not look like a man. Does this look like a man? No. I do not look like a man. I also had a coat on over this. It did not look manly. I don't think I look like a man. I don't understand this. But anyways, he was manifesting a demon that was trying to get a little hit on me. It was trying to get a little jab in. Let's see here. But this wasn't bad. They were really nice, and most people were very appreciative. Not this first one. Nope, this man had his demons. And that's how I know. Anyone that has a demon in them, then they want to get me. If you're a chosen one, you know what I'm talking about. Anyone that's got a demon, they just don't they don't really like you. They'll just say something passive-aggressive or rude. But I know I don't look like a man. Let's see here. So anyways, we do get back. They're a little concerned and needed to have someone to let me in. And then I got my bike and said goodbye. They were real nice. I told them some more spiritual things, too, that they didn't know. And then left. And then it was just really enough time to go to the other church. And that was like, I got over there at like 4:40 or something, or 4:50, or 4:45. It was early. And the door was actually open this time. So I just went on in, and I sat in the small kitchen area. There's a few other people there, and I'm like, hello, and I talked to him a little bit, and walked around and looked around, and tried to get a thing of coffee, but it was all gone. And and then I went and walked towards the bathroom, and the other woman followed me, and then she's like opened the door. They have a room there for people with babies. It's got like a chair in it and a crib. Um, and then I just kind of walked back there, and then I headed back, and we talked a minute. So I kind of thought maybe she was expecting, like she had this bag on in front of her stomach, and the stomach was sticking out a little bit, but like just the outfit, she had like some purple in her hair and like a purple shirt with this bag. Just the way that she looked and the way she opened that room, that was for like nursing mothers or something, it looked like she might be pregnant. It's just the way that she carried herself. I don't know how to explain this. She was not fat or anything at all. I'm not saying that. That's not what I mean. But I just kind of got that impression for some reason. She looked like a mom to me. I can't describe this. But she was nice. We were talking a bit, and then there's a man with her. They were married. They were both recovered addicts. There's a lot of people recovering. That's good. They were recovered addicts, and they were not attacking me. So they used to be addicts. They were no longer addicts, and now they were nice. So this is like something from God. But yeah, like a lot of people there were nice. We're good people. I don't really like churches. I don't either. But it's this is better than sitting at home alone. It's like, I guess. But anyways, she said, no, I definitely couldn't be pregnant because she had a surgery done. I said, God's doing miracles, and people that didn't think they could have children, people that are too old or stuff, they are going to have, they're going to be able to have children. She's like, miracles are. So I just said, and she's like, no, I can't, it's impossible, I had a surgery. I'm like, no, God's doing miracles. So I wasn't arguing, I just mentioned it like a normal, and then we continued talking about something else. So maybe she heard it, because she said she had some medical condition, 50% chance of passing on to a child, so she did not want to risk that. I can understand, but really God controls everything. This is the type of miracle God will probably bless them with another child, and it will be healthy. And there'll be no way, because she had a surgery, but watch, it happens. I said, no, God, there's prophecies that God's going to do this for people. Let's see here. They were nice. And then another woman walks out. So then, like, from the bathroom area or something, I don't know, it's kind of this angle, because I was talking to them. I'm kind of sitting here, they're here, and then from this side, a woman walks, and she's got some kids. She kind of comes into view. I didn't notice her right away. And at first, she's kind of turned back a little bit, like the very first impression is maybe she looked like she didn't like me that much. But then as soon as we start talking, this changes. As soon as we start talking, it changes. So maybe she didn't know what to expect. I don't know. But as soon as we start talking, then like she warms up and gets nicer, and we're able to talk about certain things, and basically how they were in another church at like mid-level or something, and then like a new ownership came and basically kicked them out because they wanted to bring their own people in. They didn't know what to do, and they ended up now running this church. This church didn't have a pastor, so they went from just being in the middle at some church with a lot of other people to running this church, and how God did all of it. And I was like, God does everything. I told him a little bit about my story too when it was appropriate. But more we talked, then we were getting along better, and I had my Trader Joe's bag, and she loved Trader Joe's too. I told her, go to the Trader Joe's website, request a Trader Joe's. Got to request a Trader Joe's in this town. And surprising, like, she really warmed. At first, it looked like she didn't like me. Just the first few seconds, and then she just warmed up. Then she was opening up, and then so maybe just like you first see somebody, you don't know what to expect. I don't know. But yeah, she really opened up, and then we were able to talk and stuff, and that was good. And it seemed like divine intervention. God put them here in this church. So basically, they probably got got control of this church just when God moved me to this city. So God moved me there. I even mentioned like something like I think this is like New Jerusalem here. So God moved me here. I didn't tell him that, but they could probably put it together. God moved me here almost 2 years ago, and God put them into leadership at this church almost 2 years ago. And she was mentioning how other people that God brought them to this town. I said, what? And they said, there's so many, I can't really think of it. But yeah, I think so. I said, then I mentioned that this is like New Jerusalem here. They've done a lot of improvements too. Anyways, let's see here. Went upstairs, had this. So we actually talked for so long. Went upstairs and then started to have the soup. It took them a while to set it up, and they also had some like vegetables and dip and breads and spreads. It was really good. They had desserts too. I didn't even get right away, and just water and these pitchers. The food was good. It was really good. It was like healthy. They had 5 different types of soup. 2 were porks, and the woman that was there with me, she like only got the pork soups. And the people and some sausage, and she was eating a lot of pork. This is a nice woman, but I had a dream that I had to tell someone to not eat pork, and it was just another like I could explain, and they don't care, but like so it's not fun, and so I'm gonna have to mention to her God does not allow us to eat pork at some point. But today so much went on, didn't want to ruin the mood. There will be another time to cover this. We'll do it later. I don't want to make God unhappy. I don't. It's just really, there wasn't even time to bring this up because we were talking about something else. Then it was time to go. So, then we went caroling, and I said, for people that don't have anyone else, get in the bus. They have a short bus. They have a church bus that you get on. And it was kind of fun on this bus to hop on, and, it's actually maybe about the same size as my van, honestly, that doesn't work. It's a little bus, and drove down several blocks away to do some caroling. The first place was closed, and then went to like 3 or 4 other places, maybe 4 or 5, because some of them you stop and then you go into a building, then you go out and there's another building right next to it. So, and then they were singing, and then just everybody was real happy, real nice. You could just the joy that they had. I do not celebrate Christmas, but this was not Christmas and stuff like that. It was just like visiting people that don't get many visitors, and then it was like singing and being smiling and happy. So that was a good deed there, I believe, to visit. So mainly we went to adult care facilities. This is for people with like mental retardation or developmental disabilities. And so the first one we went into was a little, because everybody else they were so polite. No one said a word. The first one you walked in was a very pungent smell. Probably people had peed their pants. They have diapers on. I'm not trying to be mean. The first one, very strong smell. And I didn't say a word. Then no one else did either. And people were happy, and they were all just sucking it up. But they were happy and still trying to make them happy. This is what I mean. That was great. There was all these little kids there. There was all these little kids. And not one of them said a word about the smell. Oh my gosh. What kind of kids are these? Any other kids, any other classroom, they would have done? No, and it was hard, like, to not, the smell was really bad. But, like, I'm being nice, and everybody else, they're doing a better job than me. No. But I wasn't going to be rude or anything. They're there to just spread joy. But you walk in, and then, some diapers needed change. But, like, there was a bunch of kids, and none of them said anything, and they were all just being nice and singing. Like, that is amazing. How do you do that? And I think the pastor, he's a little silly, but he's, like, real nice, but he's kind of silly. So at first, I was trying to figure out, like, what's going on, because, like, everybody I've seen, they're, like, manifesting demons, they're an enemy, and it's like, I don't know what's going on with this guy. I don't know, because I can't figure out. Because, like, when he met me, he didn't, like, come to say hello to me right away. But then he wasn't repelled by me, and he didn't dislike me. Like, he didn't immediately dislike me or anything, which is highly unusual, because normally everybody does. So I'm like, huh. I don't know. I don't want somebody to dislike me, but I'm normally saying church leaderships, normally they see me, and they're not happy. They're just like, oh, no. But this was different. So then I didn't know, I hadn't been there enough to really know what was going on, and I think maybe now I have enough pieces to kind of understand what I believe. Okay, so, and Normally, God shows me just certain things as I go, and then I learn more and more as time goes on. So I don't have probably all the pieces of the puzzle yet. It's just like my very first impression, and then I meet twice, or I shake someone's hand. What do I feel? You know, because I don't know very much. I just have a very limited amount of information. Then I learn more. Well, so anyways, he actually, I spoke to his wife for a while, and at first she was like, "Oh, hey," and at first, like, kind of, like, look, just the first few seconds looked like she didn't like me too much, and she's like, "Oh, hey," and I'm like, "Oh, are you in management here?" And I mentioned, "Oh, hello," or are you in, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what I said, something like, "Are you in management here," or something, and, and then she said that she was, oh, yeah, married to the pastor, and I said, I kind of thought so, but I didn't, and I thought that too, but I didn't want to say anything. Um, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, it's not really appropriate to say." But I kind of thought, like, maybe this is the pastor's wife, but I didn't know, so I didn't want to, it's kind of weird that out of all the people just being female, I'm not just gonna. But I sort of said, maybe this is the pastor's wife, maybe it's not. So do you have a management position here? So and then we start to talk, and so anyways, and she had three girls, and just after we talked, like, she opened up, and then we were getting along and stuff. It was nice, and then after I had spoke to her, then her husband opened up more. So like he just was saying hello. He probably doesn't know what kind of person is saying hello, what their intention, doesn't know. Like, here's some stranger, here's someone I've never met before. His I thought, like, the second week I've been to the church and I saw the pastor up there and other people were talking to him. Like, okay, I'm gonna hang around and say hello. And then we did say hello, but he didn't seem like he hated me. He wasn't repelled by me. He took a minute before he came over, and it was just kind of normal. And so then, like, that was new. That was new. He was kind of silly and exaggerated. And they're like, is this arrogance? Is this, I mean, maybe a little. Or maybe, maybe he's just nice. And, maybe he hasn't been through as much trauma to be rough around the edges. So this is what I think. This is what I think now. That actually, this man, and we spoke for a bit, and I explained my situation a little, and I talked to him a little bit. And I said, so there was a woman sitting at the table here, and then him, and I talked to them a second, and then I talked to him a minute, and just, like, summarized some of my story, and I'm like, yeah. and, and, and so then it seemed like he actually, like, he believed me, and he cared. And so then it was time to get on the bus, and then, like, I hurried, slammed some more food down, and I'm running out. And then, we gotta go, and then I see him there, and he's loading people on the bus, and he's like, "Oh, have you seen Jennifer? Have you seen Jennifer?" And then I was like 10 feet away at this point, walking towards him. I'm like, "Hi," and there I was. And so and I was so surprised. This does not happen. Like, he remembered, I don't have a ride. I'm on a bicycle, and I need to be on this bus. He's like, "Have you seen Jennifer?" Nobody gives two shits about me. No one does. And so I'm like, "Oh." "Oh, he does." I'm like, "Oh, nice." I'm like, "Hello." And I get on the bus with the other people. And see, he did care. He did. So this is what I think. I think, okay, so I didn't know. Is this it looks like, maybe, is he arrogant? Is he doing this for fame? I don't, maybe a little, but then now what, because I didn't really know, because it was something different. I have not seen a person like this, and I didn't think he was a bad person, is the thing, but I just couldn't, like, I couldn't understand what kind of person is this. God shows me things, people, true intentions and things in the spirit, and I hadn't seen anything like this. So now, and the way he talked to people and what he did today, I think I understand, is that, like, he's very kind. He wants to have, like, fun. He wants to make everyone happy. But maybe it looks like he hasn't experienced enough trauma to be rough around the edges. So he's maybe a little silly and a little soft around the edge. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That's what I mean. Because this is something I couldn't place my finger on. I said it could be, like, it could look like arrogance, or it could be, like, I don't want to say naive. Because like, what I saw is somebody that was competent. They were, like, speaking and directing and doing all this stuff and doing a good job, and they were managing it well. But it's not that rough around the edges, not that stoicism that you see from people that have been like to prison or something, that have not, that have been traumatized, and they get a little rougher. It wasn't like though. So it looked like actually he's teasing the kids, he's trying to make people happy, and he actually cared, like, oh, she needs to get on the bus, where is she? And actually cared. So I have not seen this. I have not seen this before, so I was trying to figure out, like, what is this? What is this? Oh, okay, he's not evil. I'm like looking, and I'm like, I don't see anything evil yet. I haven't heard blood sacrifice really yet. I mean, what's the catch? What's something happening here? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Why did God bring me here? It's just like a countenance and something that I have not seen before, and I didn't know, I didn't know what it was. So I'm like, I gotta get more information. And so I saw today is he just really wanted to make the people at the adult care facility happy, and really tried to do that, and tried to excite everybody and have them sing and be nice. And none of those kids complained about the smell of pee pants. That is amazing. So the pastor was responsible for that. Good job. Good job. My kids, ooh, but their father was the devil. But they would have been like, and want to leave right away. And so anyways, so that was good. What I saw, it looks like he actually cares about people. So, yeah. But just not rough around the edges, okay? Not rough, not tough, like maybe not been in some fights. Someone like he saw what needed to be done, and was taking care of business, and was moving and doing things. And so God put them in charge of this church. And I could see why then, because if this is genuine, this looks genuine, then that is needed. I have not seen that. Well, the other church I'm going to, the pastor, he's speaking truth. He's sending me messages. There's a lot of older people. They're not having so much joy of the Lord. It was very different. Like when we would go in and spend one-on-one time. And then there'd be like 5 people in a room. And then you have a group of like 50 people there all singing, and a lot of little kids and stuff. So there was a lot more joy in this. And it was more fun. So, I don't celebrate Christmas, but this was making people happy. Like, they really liked this. This was a good thing. Okay, and then when this was done, we headed back, I went back in for a minute to eat it, and I got another piece of cake real quick, and I got another cup of water. And so this one woman that was sitting at the table, she knew the woman that was glad. I was so glad you're coming, and she saw me at the soup kitchen, and she liked me. This other woman was sitting at the table, and then when we came back, I put another cake on the plate, and I was eating the icing off real quick, and then she kind of smiled when she saw that. Here I'm eating like a pig, eating another piece of cake, and then it turns out she's the one that brought that cake, and the cake was like store-bought, but they handmade the icing. So, and the icing was what I was eating, so she was happy. Like, oh, so I better get out of here because it's time to go. So I just ate it real quick, and then there was like some of the cake left, but I ate all the icing. I'm like, oh, I had enough of this. And then, they were she seemed nice. Of course, God could be veiling me, but what I believe I saw were good people there, and that I had canceled the demonic contracts in this building and protected the congregation and protected the church. And it was all positive. Everything was positive in that church today. Everything was positive. No nitpicking, no complaining, no passive aggressive, no snarkiness. So that might have been there if I didn't stop at that church the day before. I would not have stopped at that church the day before if the woman at the soup kitchen didn't say that we were going to meet there. But then it was closed. It says God did all that and inspired her to say that to get me there. And then I'm going up and down the roads. Why was I going up and down the roads yesterday? Oh, because I just biked there and I sat there for 7 minutes, didn't have anything else to do. And I thought, oh, I'll see what's down this way. I haven't been this way. And then I kind of slowly worked my way back because I had nothing else to do. And then there I was, right at the churches. So anyways, then it was nice. And then as I left, and then my bike was still there. My bike was not destroyed. No one messed with it further. And then I thought, I'm going to bike around the front just to see if the pastor's there. And then, so then I get my bike unlocked, I get it set up, and I turn on my lights, and I bike around the front, and they're him and his kids, I believe, they're getting in the car, and they see me, and I'm on my bike, and I wave hello, and they wave to me, and they're like, hi, Jennifer. I'm like, yeah, nice. So maybe this is good. Maybe, yeah. And actually, when I was talking to the pastor's wife, and I mentioned some things to her about food being cursed and drinks being cursed, and even like if you go to, even if you go get an oil change, they will, even just to make you spend more money than you should, because Christians don't know they need to protect themselves against the. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I mentioned some of this to her, and then I continued to talk about other things. And then we were walking up the steps, and then she mentioned something like maybe feeling like she was being tempted or something. Like I said, yeah, the enemy's everywhere. You got to protect yourself. so maybe this will open like the gate for future conversation or something, because God allows me to discern certain things. Maybe like it's not that I do anything, but like God gives me insight and makes me pretty smart, I guess. So I understand like this is an enemy, this is a good person. We want them here so they can hear the information, possibly they can repent. But at the same time, then you need to protect your church, You have to protect the other people there and protect yourself. So, and you can do both if you know. But a lot of people don't know. They assume everyone's good. That is not true. Not everyone is good. There are people, they will flip and they will become good later. So the point is, how do we get them to convert while protecting ourselves? So, anyways, it was just nice. Felt like happy, And it was a little silly, but it felt like happy, Those kids were just real nice and real polite. So that was impressive. So that is the fruit. The fruit that I didn't know about this man, because I saw an ad and he was talking about the Thanksgiving parade, and it looked like maybe arrogance in that. It looked like he was nice and wanted to help, but it looked like also he was arrogant or something. And I just, it was different than what I had seen before. But today I didn't see that. So what I saw, the kids were well behaved, and so, that could just be the way he speaks, and it's not arrogant. I just have not seen that before. It's like new information taking. And so if I've only seen Pharisees and devils and wicked people, and then I'm like, I don't see him being evil yet. Let me wait longer to just, so when he does start being evil, I don't know, because I didn't see it. And actually, I saw there's a lot of nice people, so maybe he's not, I would say right now, I don't think he's evil. I don't think so. But, I didn't necessarily think that about the others, and then they showed themselves. So that's why I know. I don't make the judgment right away. I'm kind of figuring things out, and I need more information first. And so it looks like this is possibly good. And at least, even if they don't protect the church, I protected it for them. With God's power, not mine. You can do the same thing. I don't have to do it. You can do it, but people don't because they don't know. So it's all God. Every believer is incredibly powerful because God listens to us, and we get filled with God's Spirit. So that is where the power comes from. So every believer is incredibly powerful. Okay, so they also invited me to some more things coming up next week. So maybe I'll go to that. So that's an awful lot to remember. And then I got the paper. And then I went downstairs to leave. Oh, actually, I was finishing the cake, and I'm still, because the food was upstairs in this big room, and I'm shoveling it down real quick, and I went to throw it away. And then the pastor comes up to me again and says, we have this thing like the day before Christmas. We have this thing on Christmas, and you can come. I'm like, oh, okay, that's an awful lot. Maybe I'll write it down. So we have a paper by the door. I'm like, okay. And then I'm leaving. I go and I look, and I get the paper. And then the pastor walks down the hall and is like, did you get the paper? And that's what I mean. That is what I'm saying. That's like what I do is I'm concerned. I'm following through. I am paying attention to people's needs and things. And he was doing that. So I'm like, oh, thank you for being, and I don't remember what I said, something like so hospitable or welcoming or something. Because it really was. It really was. And possibly the first time I met then I spoke to the pastor, there's probably a lot of witchcraft going on then, because I didn't cancel any demonic assignments that day, but I did this day. And then there was no ill will. So it probably was a spell even cast, and then that wasn't even bad. It just wasn't as good. So that possibly was witchcraft there, which has now been shut down. Also, the man who was sent with the love magic spell to escort me to this church and also to try to get a date on me, and everybody was watching and they were all casting their spells. Well, guess what? He was not there today. It actually seemed like a nice kid that just was on the other team. He's working with the witches. He's an addict, probably. But he actually seems like a nice guy under it all. Like, I saw good in him. And, like, the way that he was trying to do the state, and I saw, like, oh, that was like a nice high schooler would be. Like, nice. Not wicked, not evil. And, but then this woman, the older woman who invited me, or she was glad I came, and then she's like, oh, where is he? He's not here. I said, I don't know. I said, actually, I don't really know him. I only, talked to him like these 2 times. We don't like talk or anything. So this is a long story. I'll get into another day. Oh my gosh. And then she's like, oh yeah, I remember, something like he went back to visit his mother. So this man who was sent, he sat right next to me in the church, and they were all using this witchcraft love magic spell. They put the potion in my coffee, and they were using, and it was strong, like they had it bumped all the way up, this love magic. And I was like, oh, that feels good. I know it's fake. I know what love magic is, but I'm not, what did they expect me to do in the church? What did they expect? Because I am not, I already told, anyways. I mean, it feels nice, but it's fake. But it's all fake. I'm not stupid. My ex-narcissist did this too after we broke up, just to try to make me upset. To make me feel like I love him. Like, he didn't do this when we were together. And God showed me what the love magic looks like. It looks like pink cartoon clouds. It's about like this high off the ground, and then it spreads and fills the whole room. I know what love magic looks like. God showed me certain things in the spirit. A lot of things look like cartoons. Anyways, so this man normally goes to the church, and he normally goes to the Sunday breakfast, because he goes to the soup kitchen. Not this weekend. No, he was gone. He was not at the soup kitchen, and he was not at the church. I canceled the demonic assignments. And this woman said, oh yeah, he left to go visit his mother. He not only was not at the church, he left, I think went to a different state on a bus to visit his mom. And she said he had not seen his mom in 4 years. Well, this could mean he's in trouble with the coven because he didn't get me. His love magic wasn't working. The love magic was working, but I know what love magic is. I know what it is. The narcissist at the church tried to use it. My ex-devil, I was married to the devil after we broke up, he tried to use it. It's fake. It's completely fake. When it wears off, like you're there with the person too, and it lasts a certain amount of time, but they have to keep like chanting or using mirrors, or candles or something. Maybe when the candle burns out, then it wears off. I can't remember. I've looked at these videos before, something like that. So it doesn't last that long. So maybe it lasted for like an hour. And then they also put something in my coffee too. So they put something in my coffee. They also had a whole network of them surrounding me, watching me, probably doing witchcraft right then, like magnifying this, the strongest love magic I had ever felt. And then after an hour or so, it wore off. And then it was gone. Well, he failed. He failed because there was no numbers exchanged. There was no date. There was no kissing. There was no holding of hands. No. There's not. There wasn't. It was nice. I enjoyed it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not allowed to do that. That would have been a fail. I've gone this far. I'm not going to throw everything away for fake love magic. And anyways, this man failed. He went to visit his mom. He had not seen his mom in 4 years. So maybe he was in trouble that he did not get me. Maybe he saw how weak the coven really is. And all of their resources, they probably spent 8 hours chanting, in a circle. And then all of them, there was like, 10 of them in there that I saw, trying to, like, watching me, walking back and forth, spying, and they couldn't get me. And then I was nice to him still. Um, so did he lose faith in their power? Or were they mad at him and he's getting out of there? He's going to go visit his mom. I don't know. But I so did pray, because he does seem like he seems like a good guy. And actually, if he went on a real date with someone who's actually available, which is not me, um, then it could go well. I actually prayed to God. I don't remember what exactly, but something like, he could, if he could repent and then, like, just have a happy life, or, because it looks like he could be a nice guy. It really does. It's just like when somebody's an addict, or if they're homeless and then they're just kind of stuck in a group of Satanists, and like, how do they get out of that? He went to visit his mom, so maybe that's the way. Maybe because he did look, he seemed like a nice guy. Normally, though, in the soup kitchen, like, I never talked to him. I seen him a few times, and he was sleeping in the soup. He was sleeping. Never said hello, just sleeping. Because when they're out on the street, they're awake, walking around. So they come in the soup kitchens, and the homeless ones, they need to take a nap now. The heat's on. Like, so, and that's how the devil takes care of his army. The devil's army, well taken care of, eating well at the soup kitchen, which is funded by Christians, and probably some Muslims and Jews too, but mainly Christians paying to feed these Satanists. The devil doesn't even feed his own people. They're homeless on the street, and then when they fail, then, they get punished and treated bad. So, maybe you go back and, I don't know. I'm just guessing at this point. But he did seem like he was a nice kid under it all. And, when you're young, you get wrapped up with different groups and people. And, so hopefully that can be sorted out. But, yeah, they invited me to some more stuff. And tomorrow is the 22nd. 22nd. Where's my restoration, Lord? I've been doing a good job for you. I've been doing a good job for you. Come on. I'm going to every church event. I don't like church. I just wanted to be at home and, like with my dogs and in my house being clean, being able to sleep in my bed, wash my clothes in the washer, use my bathtub. I'm being able to drive places with the heat sometimes. I kind of like my bike, but, I do like my bike, but I'm just saying, like, every time I take it out, I gotta worry if somebody's gonna break it. It's gonna mess with it some more. It's like something got stolen today, but there's a lot happened today. This video is almost an hour and a half. Okay, tomorrow's the 22nd. I better be restored tomorrow. Maybe I'll take a shower tomorrow. Maybe I'll take it. Oh, there's going to be a concert. It's 10 o'clock at night. There's supposed to be a music concert at the soup kitchen after we have lunch. So, maybe I'll get up and have a shower in the morning and be ready for that. I don't know. I need a shower. I was going to have one today, but I got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and probably 3 hours. And it was really cold and early, so I didn't want to be soaking wet and half asleep, 2 hours of sleep or something. So maybe I'll get up and have a shower tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just show up to the soup kitchen like this, because I'm not the only one. That's kind of nice. But I'm supposed to be restored. But at the same time, like, if I'm a Cinderella, then I can smell bad. I don't need to be smelling good yet, and then I become king. I become king. I don't know. I'm just teasing. But, I hear these prophecies, and they're, like, lining up, and I'm hearing random people, like, they say markers. It's a butterfly. I've come out of my isolation. Now God is showing me off as the Cinderella, living in filth, smelling a little less bad because the soup kitchen gave me a deodorant. It's a poison deodorant, but it smelled like, it's purple and it smells like flowers. So when I put it on, it actually helped me not smell as bad, even though I didn't have a bath in a while. So that's great. That is my life. That is a good thing. Yeah, it probably would have been good to have a bath today, but I didn't. And, I probably needed that extra sleep because, like, I was yawning a little bit when I went caroling at 2. Then I was yawning a little bit when I did the caroling at 3. I was, or was it? Oh, the one we left at about 6. So I was like yawning a few times. So I didn't need the sleep I got. So everything happens for a reason. If I don't have a shower tomorrow, oh well. Oh well. It is what it is. God's controlling everything. If I'm going to be restored, I'm going to be restored. So I guess I can smell bad and be restored. It doesn't matter. So Cinderella was all dirty when she was restored, right? I don't know. Okay. Anyways, so some good things happened today. No, I don't celebrate Christmas. But it was a lot of people trying to make others happy, and you could feel that happiness, so that was good. Um, and there's like a black man there who was like wanting to hug, like he was real happy and real nice, and like there in each room there may be like uh, 4 or 5, maybe 6, more like between 3 and 5 um, people in the assisted living facility, and he would go and he would hug them all, and they were just so appreciative, and like just stuff like that, and then talking and teasing, but nothing negative, like actually positive teasing, just yeah, something you don't see much, and I have not seen elsewhere in my town, so I don't know what's going on. I've got like stuff, all types of stuff planned to the laundromat. It was a testimony for me. Was the woman at the laundromat setting me up? She's a fake chosen one. She was involved in the spell, or was her witnessing the spell the point? As a proof of God or a proof of the witchcraft? I don't know what's going on. Okay, that's enough. It's 1 hour and 38 seconds.